Now, Dragon's Den star Steven Barlett is known for dishing out business advice, and his latest is this: learn how to quit. He says quitting is actually a skill, and those who are winning at life have mastered it. Interesting. I thought this was really interesting, because you sometimes think of quitting as being a failure. Oh, you're such a failure, you quit. But do you see quitting as a positive thing? Have you ever quit something?
No, I have quit. You know, I mean, I've quit 2 marriages, but also quit several jobs of my own, you know, voluntarily. And one example was Coronation Street, which was 27 years ago I started that show.
Wow.
I can't believe it. But I did 4 years. And most of that time it was absolutely wonderful. But I could only go, so it wasn't really a cerebral reaction, it was a gut reaction. I knew when it was time for me to go. Against the odds, I had a job where they wanted me to stay, you know, and then I got pregnant, aged 97, with Louis. And they said that they would write that in, and I was very lucky that I didn't have to do everything with a sort of, you know, a border...
With a tea towel.
With a tea towel over my tummy. And they would have liked me to stay. But I just went with my gut. And it was the right decision for me. But people like all my aunties, they just could not believe that someone voluntarily had left being the landlady of the Rovers Return, because to them it was the pinnacle. And years later, I could say, this didn't happen, but just say it could, I could say, no, well, I'm doing a movie with Al Pacino and Julia Roberts, and people would go, but you can always go back. Yeah. That didn't kill you off. No. But, I mean, it's happened a few times in my career, and I worried at the time that I was being stupid, but I've never regretted the decision.
Yeah. And Oti, I have to say, I personally was surprised when you left Strictly.
Yeah.
To me, I was like, you just are Strictly, and you've been there for so long, you've won it twice.
Yeah, consecutive years. 2
consecutive years, you were, like, right up there.
Yeah.
What made you...
I love that you say that. The audience is like, yeah, why did she leave?
Yeah.
No, I feel the same as Denise. I think it's that feeling I had. It is the most wonderful show, and it was 10 years ago, and I left South Africa and then Germany to be on Strictly, and I'm still very close with producers and the dancers. But for me, it was time to move on, and I'm lucky because that show kind of trampolined me or jump-started many other doors and career opportunities for me. But I did want to explore different things. I wanted to have a family. And I remember it was actually going to see... I'm talking about this tour a lot. But this Loose Woman tour, and you were all talking about many stories and many experiences and many things that you were speaking about in the jungle, the tours that you had been on. And I just was like, I'd never done anything with my life but dance. I grew up in a very strict household. We went to school, we went to dance school, and then that was it. So I'd never traveled. I'd never met different types of people. I didn't have life experience. And I was like, I could do this show, which is amazing, and do the same thing again for 20 years and still be happy. I wasn't unhappy. Or I could just fail, but fail knowing that I'm gaining life experience. And I think that, for me, was very important.
But then, you know, Steven Barlett said it's not failing, it's actually a skill.
I mean, I failed a few times.
Knowing
when
to. Yeah. Do you still watch Strictly when it comes around now with a little twinge?
I still work. I'm at the back, I'm with the crew, I'm under the stage, we're having gin and tonics, we're having a good time. Yeah, I'm still very much involved in the back of the show, because I think Strictly for me will always be a part of me, right? And I'll always
it's like your family.
Yeah, it is my family in the UK, but it was time for me to move on.
And I suppose it's what you do for a living, you know. I think all of us here, what we do for a living, you can move around, do different things, different places. But I don't know, if you're an accountant, for example, your job is accountancy, and whether you do it in this office or this office is probably, you know, why... And a lot of people like to stay in the same place.
Absolutely.
They like to be with the same people. They like to know what they're getting. They want to be able to switch off when they get home.
And they provide...
And some people don't have a choice.
Yeah, they don't have a choice.
And I think it's nice if people love their jobs.